What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance Crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today I'm going to be getting into a video called Top 5 Most Powerful Versions of Godzilla, ranking Godzilla, and this video was uploaded by SciFi Explained. I will have a link for their channel at the end of this video that you can click on and go straight to their channel, watch all their videos and all the other good stuff. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say about this because I am not... I'm familiar with Godzilla enough to know about some of the main plot points. I don't know a whole lot about it. I've never really seen too many of the Godzilla movies in their entirety. I've seen pieces of just about all of them, but I haven't seen the full versions of any of them. Only thing I know about Godzilla is that he's like 300 feet tall. The series has gotten more cartoony as it went on, and then it got serious. And everybody hates Son of Godzilla. That's the only things I know about the series. A lot of you have recommended that I watch King of the Monsters, the original. I did go and see King of the Monsters, the actual movie, with King Rutherford, and honestly, we weren't really impressed. I will go ahead and leave you my review of it after this video's over, but let's go ahead and jump into this and see what it has to offer. If you haven't seen this already, go and watch the original. I have a link in the original, I have a link in the description box down below, and you can watch the original without me talking over it and anything like that. And plus, I encourage you to just watch it because it helps out the original content creator. It gives them a view. That way they can continue to make videos with the ad revenue. Rhymed again, because I'm good like that. Let's go ahead and check this out.
Godzilla King of the Monsters is almost here, and I thought that since we're building up to see who the true king of the Titan-filled monsterverse really is, Godzilla or Ghidorah, we should take a few minutes and talk about what I think are the top 5 most powerful versions of Godzilla from the movies. With 65 years of content spanning over 35 films, there are a ton of different Godzillas to compare and size up. That said, there is no definitive list. These are just my top 5, and I'm sure some of you won't agree. And
I think that's Godzilla Earth in the back over there.
That said, with all
I know about that. When that came out, I knew about that.
Size, strength, durability, regeneration, etc. There is a lot to take into account here, so let's keep it fairly simple and dive in. First off, I'd like to give an honorary mention here to Shin Godzilla. A lot of people have Shin pretty high up on their Godzilla power list, and I'm not saying that I don't agree with them. The heat ray of Shin, starting with the thermal flame, igniting everything in the area, then focusing to a tight, high damage radiation heat ray, is possibly the most powerful blast we've ever seen.
That looks cool.
We know, it could be capable of slicing up and cutting through every other G on this list. Add in the dorsal and tail beams, and every point of attack on Shin is a bad one. Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing just how Shin would do when fighting against another giant kaiju or titan. It seems that whenever a Shin Godzilla versus anyone fight is brought up, you'll hear proponents of Shin say that it can mutate to defeat anything it comes across. My only issue here is, can it do so quick enough in the middle of a fight with another monster? To me, that's just not very likely. The beam may be devastating, but if it's not a kill shot, it drains Shin, forcing it into a slumber where any surviving monster could easily finish it off.
Look at Shin's
that
little
said, the lack
fingers.
of info keeps it here as an honorable mention. Number 5. Legendary Godzilla. Before starting, there is a small spoiler here, but I will say that it was shown in the trailers, so if you've seen the trailers and you're okay with what they show, there won't be a problem here. I'm putting Legendary Godzilla here at number 5, even without its Fire Godzilla power-up or any other charge-ups that may happen in King of the Monsters. The MonsterVerse Godzilla has proven its durability by surviving Castle Bravo, a nuclear warhead with a 14 megaton yield. Coming in at number 2 on this list in both height and weight, this version of the Big G earned that nickname, returning to a physical fighting style not seen since the mighty Showa Godzilla. The newest Godzilla has easily earned a spot on this list, and depending on how powerful he is by the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, considering the possible Fire Godzilla power-up, he may even earn a higher position later on.
Yeah, he got that that fire
4,
power-up if you haven't seen it.
Supercharged Godzilla.
I will put a spoiler warning in front of this video.
Godzilla fits right into the 1990s, the era where everything was extreme and over the top. Here, a standard Godzilla just wouldn't do. This version of the Big G started off the era at 80 meters tall versus 50 meters from the last era, yet it was then charged up by a nuclear sub during Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, growing another 20 meters up to 100-meter height. Even with the boost,
So that's where they got that plot line for the new movie, the nuclear blast powering them up.
During Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, growing another 20 meters up to 100-meter height. Even with the boost, Godzilla would still need more power in order to defeat Mechagodzilla. After the human-built Super Mecha G was able to mortally wound Fire Rodan, the kaiju would land on the defeated Godzilla, transferring its life energy into him, creating a supercharged Godzilla. Now sporting the uranium heat ray and boosted regeneration abilities from the extra power, this was a Heisei Godzilla on the verge of overload, which actually brings us to the next version on the list.
Is it the
Number
one from
3,
Godzilla vs. Destroyer?
Burning Godzilla. In hindsight, it's pretty easy to see what led to this iteration of the Heisei Godzilla: a larger G to start with, a nuclear sub power-up, and then a Fire Rodan boost. It's no wonder that the added power and radiation would eventually build up to levels that even Godzilla couldn't handle, bringing us to Burning G. Now, I know a lot of fans would like to place him higher on the list, explaining that his planet-destroying ability gives him a leg up on the other Godzillas. Well, if he uses this, everyone's dead, so it really wouldn't matter win or loss-wise. So I'm going to focus more on what he can do before the overheating. Burning Godzilla is the next phase of Supercharged Godzilla. Now the radiation is just too much, causing an imminent meltdown, but until then, we can see further upgrades to its regeneration. On top of that, the evolution of the heat ray into the infinite or burning spiral ray is devastating. And I can't leave out this little bit that actually pertains to both Supercharged and Burning Godzilla. It's said that the Heisei Godzilla was able to swim under the Earth's crust through underground lava currents from the Pacific Ocean to Mount Fuji. This tidbit has many fans saying no Godzilla can top the Heisei G, but even with that feat, we're going to continue on with 2 more. Number 2, Final Wars Godzilla. Now I'm going to start right off by saying that I think you could easily switch Burning Godzilla and Final Wars Godzilla for the number 2 and 3 spots. As a matter of fact, if you search online and read any of the countless forums discussing this versus fight, you'll find that fans are split on just who will win. That said, I kind of feel that because Final Wars was supposed to be the destroy all monsters of the era and send Godzilla off in a big bang, that they were meaning to make him as the most powerful Godzilla seen yet on film. Now sure, this can be debated. As a matter of fact, I can't wait to hear what you guys say about this in the comments, but either way, let's see why I made the choice.
Looks like he's a little
It's
more
hard to
leaner
say there's a better strength feat
in
than
this one
swimming
than the other
underground
ones.
like the Heisei Godzilla did, unless it was more about durability than strength. Yet speaking of strength, Final Wars G not only threw Kumonga like a toy, but it tossed Kaiser Ghidorah, a massive 100,000 metric ton kaiju, into the air with ease, and then destroyed what is possibly the most powerful Godzilla enemy ever with its hyper spiral heat ray, a beam that was able to destroy the Gorath asteroid. We didn't see the regen capability of the Heisei Gs, but Final Wars Godzilla never got hurt enough beyond the energy siphon to really need it. In one film, this stamina beast killed Zilla, beat Kumonga, killed Kamacuras, beat Anguirus, Rodan, and King Caesar at once, killed Hedorah and Ebra together, killed the first Gigan, and then killed the most powerful version of Ghidorah ever, the Kaiser. I never thought that we would see something top this, but it would happen on film, just in the animated universe. Number 1, Godzilla Earth. Even if you aren't a fan of the Godzilla animated films, it's hard not to admit that Earth Godzilla is the Big G taken to a crazy extreme. With a lineage possibly closer to that of Biollante than any other iteration of Godzilla, Earth G is a powerhouse. Don't let its plant-based makeup fool you. This giant kaiju is infused with metallic tissue that gives it extra durability and allows it to even exist at this size. And speaking of size, Earth is over 300 meters tall, easily the largest so far, where Shin Godzilla in comparison is actually as big as Earth G's Shin. Beyond the size, the main reason Godzilla Earth sits at this top spot is its shield. It's not likely that any kaiju or titans would be able to shut this down, but I have to admit while writing this, I wondered if the EMP attack of the Mutos could affect it. But who knows? Either way, this shield, the asymmetrically permeable shield as it's called, is a 360-degree field that stops all incoming damage except for that of Ghidorah, a version capable of attacking from other dimensions, something no other kaiju, titan, or man is capable of. Its atomic blast is like a bigger, improved version of Shin's attack, cutting through anything. And if that's not enough, it has the super oscillatory wave attack and the plasma cutter tail swing. Any of these could possibly kill any other kaiju or titan. And Final Godzilla wasn't the only G to stop a Gorath asteroid with its atomic breath. Earth did the same thing, although it's proposed, yet not confirmed, that it needed 2 years to charge up for the attack, whereas Final Wars didn't. This iteration of Godzilla tanked a 40 megaton, 150 nuke barrage, and gives off so much radiation that it's causing mutations to the entire planet, bringing to life an entirely new ecosystem. No other kaiju has had this kind of impact beyond the animated Ghidorah, making it easy for me to have the animated Godzilla sitting at the top of this list. And that's it for me, guys. I'm sure you have your opinions on your top 5. Hopefully some of you agree with me, but if you didn't, I'd love to hear why your list of the most powerful Godzillas is different. Thanks for watching, guys. Your input, likes, and subscriptions go a long way towards helping the channel grow, so let's continue the discussion down in the comments.
Yep. Again, this video was done by SciFi Explained. I will have a link for their channel at the end of this video that you can click on and, go to their channel, watch all their stuff, subscribe to them, like their videos if you enjoyed this one, and, show them some support. What I really like about Godzilla is just how much lore is in it. I love movies and franchises where you have to go and look online to study more about it. That's why I love the superhero movies. That's why I love anime. That's why I love things like Godzilla, just because there's so much stuff to look into and just learn about. And with Godzilla, it's not just the plot and the story, but the monsters themselves. Each one has their own histories, their own stories, and they have a ranking system where all of them stack up, and people can have debates about who's the strongest monster Godzilla's ever faced, or who's the strongest Godzilla, or anything like that. It feels good when you're able to have those discussions, and the fact that there can be differences. Now, I don't know if everybody's just already put their foot down and said that Godzilla Earth is the strongest Godzilla, but I feel like there's a debate there if you wanted to have it. If you wanted to say someone else was the strongest, you can put them up there. But if you happen to have your own list, go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below. I look forward to reading it, whether it's just Godzilla's or the monsters in general, or whoever they fought, anything like that. I would love to hear from you guys. Okay, now, review time. So I went and saw the Godzilla King of the Monsters movie, and to me, I would say it was one of those cheesy movies. If you're looking for action and stuff, it's perfect. But if you're looking for story and things like that, I would probably just pass on it. It has a lot of action, even though a lot of that action does take place in the dark or in the water, or in some way that it kind of obstructs the way the monsters look. And I think the reason they did that was because, personally, I felt like the visuals, the CGI and stuff in this movie weren't as good as the last one. Now, I could be wrong about that, but to me, it just felt like something was off. Some of the facial expressions Godzilla would make and stuff like that, it just seemed weird in a way. Now, Godzilla, the reason why I think that Godzilla and all the other monsters had that weird look is because there was more monsters than just a couple. Because in the last movie, you just had Godzilla and the Motos, and in this new movie, you have a ton of monsters. You have Godzilla, you have Rodan, you have uh, Mothra, you have King Ghidorah, and you have a bunch of smaller titans. And maybe they had to spread the budget around because it didn't come off looking as great as it should have, I think. Um, they did learn some lessons in this movie compared to the last one. There's not as much following of the humans. They give the monsters a lot more screen time in this movie, which is a good thing. They the monsters come in earlier in the movie. You don't have to wait like an hour or 2 hours before you get a full look at the monster. Like they actually show them very early in the movie. The As far as the plot's concerned, I didn't really have too many issues with it until the point where, and yeah, if I haven't, you've already should have seen this as spoiler, so I'm going to go ahead and spoil a lot of stuff. I didn't have a problem until the mother character became like an environmentalist terrorist. Or at least she thought she was doing the right thing by siding with the environmentalist terrorist. And that was the stupidest, the dumbest stuff I've, like, man. It's funny because King Rutherford was like fuming, sitting in his chair, and he watched a lot more Godzilla movies than I did, so he is a little bit more attached to the series than I am, and he was like so upset with some of the stuff that happened in that movie, and it's funny looking back on it because like her idea was, and it reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy VII with the weapon characters. Like, Earth created the Titans, like Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan, to protect itself. And humans, in her mind, were seen as like the virus. Or at least this is what the terrorists told her. Humans are seen as the virus, and the monsters are kind of like a forest fire that comes through and wipes everything out so that the Earth can renew and rebuild itself. So she thought that, like, in her mind, oh well, humanity isn't going to go extinct. We just have to adapt to these monsters. And the whole time I'm thinking about, yeah, but there's an asterisk next to extinct. Like, yeah, we probably won't die out, but will like 5 billion people end up dying? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people's gonna die with this stupid ass idea you have. You just doomed the Earth. Congratulations. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. Stupidest plot point in the movie to me. Period. And I guess at the time they didn't know that King Ghidorah was from space. Like, they thought King Ghidorah was one of the monsters, or kaiju. I guess I should just say kaiju from now on. Were one of the kaiju that were created from Earth to protect itself. But it isn't until later in the movie they find out that King Ghidorah is actually from space and is messing up the flow and the way things are supposed to work. Because normally Godzilla is the alpha, and all the other kaiju kind of just follow behind on Godzilla. Now, King Ghidorah came to Earth like millions of years ago, and him and Godzilla have been fighting for eons. So, King Ghidorah is more powerful than Godzilla, at least in the beginning of the movie. And, well, I'm not really sure how King Ghidorah and Godzilla are fighting for so long, considering how decisive King Ghidorah beat Godzilla. I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe there's more story involving it. I don't know. I wasn't really paying. Like I said, I came to the movie for the action, and I could give less of a damn about what the humans were doing or talking about. So Godzilla and King Ghidorah have been fighting for millennia, and in this movie, King Ghidorah beat Godzilla. So all of the kaiju except for Mothra, who Mothra is one of the first monsters that appeared in the movie, it centers, I'm not going to go through the plot points. If you want to watch the actual plot of the movie, go watch the movie. I'm not going to sit here and go step by step and list every single thing. I'm just going to list the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like. Mothra was okay. I felt like they kind of undersized Mothra. I think Mothra should have been bigger, especially when she was fighting against Rodan. Rodan was like 3 times the size of Mothra. They did give Mothra these weird like scythe praying mantis hands, which is pretty cool. Mothra was a character that was always loyal to Godzilla. I'm not sure what the dynamic was. Because I'm pretty sure in the regular series, Mothra was a villain, or at least a bad guy at first, and then became an ally. So in this one, Mothra was just like predestined to help Godzilla. What was I about to say? I forgot about something. I'll come back to it. If I try to remember it, I'll just forget it more. I don't know why, but that's how my brain works. Now, King Ghidorah, Godzilla fighting for eons. Some of the effects were amazing. I don't like the fact that they had like this storm that followed King Ghidorah, because it kind of like hid the fights a lot. When they did fight, it was always raining and storming and stuff like that. And it seemed like it was another excuse to try to hide some of the visual effects of the movies, or of the movie. I liked how dynamic the Ghidorah heads were. Like they all had their individual personalities. The middle head was like the alpha, and the other 2 were like subordinates. But it was like, it wasn't like just the alpha and 2 regular subordinates. It was like they had like an Ed, and Eddie type of mindset. Like one was the head, obviously. Head, no pun intended. One was the main lead. Then the other one was like the middle. It didn't really, it kind of followed behind the middle one, but it didn't really cause too many waves. And then there was another one that was kind of stupid, and the middle one would like always like snap at it. So there was that. I'm not gonna get into the echo box, whatever the hell it was called, the thing that made the noises. It goes into the story. I didn't have a problem with a lot of the story. It was mainly just that the mom becoming a terrorist. That was weird to me. Like it was something that irritated the hell out of me. Like if anybody out there that's played the Jurassic Park game from Telltale, you know what I'm talking about. Like that hippie scientist. That's pretty much what she turned into. Didn't like it. Didn't like her. Didn't like the girl in the movie either. Like both of them got on my damn nerves. If you want to talk about some type of political agenda, fine. I don't like when people talk about stuff like that, because I feel like it's too easy to try to blame something on that when it could be more to it. It's possible that could have been a thing. I mean, well, obviously it was talking about like global warming, and it was like allegories to global warming and shit like that. But I mean, like as far as, oh, well, these are just environmentalists trying to force their agendas onto it. Like that's the stuff that's like, yeah. Global warming is a thing. It is. Forcing like recycling and all other stuff. Okay, fine. You can talk about that if you want to. But I'm trying to think about some other characters. The main terrorist guy. It was weird because at the beginning of the movie he was really ruthless, but then at the end he just like kind of didn't really give a damn anymore. It's like, well, my plot is done, so I don't care. You want to go ahead and leave my base after I've kidnapped you and held you hostage? You want to leave my base to help your husband or something? Fine, go ahead. Like, wait a minute, you just killed an entire building of scientists just to get this like box thing, and now that the person who was like the architect of the box wants to leave, now you just have no problem with it. It seemed kind of weird. I had no problem with Miley Bobby Brown. She was pretty cool. Great actor. Really great actor. Ken Watanabe's character, they killed him off. He kind of went off with a pretty good ending. He like I said earlier with the plot point where they were talking about with using the nuclear weapon to reawaken Godzilla. That was his point. Godzilla had like this underwater temple that he would live in, and Mothra was like feeding him radiation from above the ocean. Like she was like sprinkling radiation into the water, and it was like going into the temple and like rebuilding Godzilla because after his defeat with King Ghidorah. And they figured the best way to help him out was to try to like speed up the process. So they took a nuclear weapon and they had to get it into the temple, but the only way to get it into the temple was for the weapon to actually be carried in. So they had Ken Watanabe's character take like this little mini submarine, and he went into the temple. He grabbed the nuclear weapon and he like walked up to Godzilla and like put it next to him, and he put a timer on it. And while the timer was going off, he was sitting there like, I guess, bonding with Godzilla, like stroking his face while he was like, he wasn't unconscious. He was looking at him, but he just couldn't move or anything. So he was just kind of giving his respects to Godzilla, and then the explosion happened. And later on in the movie, Godzilla comes back as, I guess you could say, he's like burning Godzilla. It pretty much looked like burning Godzilla. They said that Godzilla was like overcharged and was going to explode at some point. But it was some awesome effects, because when Godzilla was in his burning state, like everywhere he walked would just like melt. So like he's in this city and he's walking, and as he's walking, buildings next to him are just like literally just turning into molten like metal and just collapsing. Maybe that explains the 9/11 attacks. But that's some little truther humor for you. For those of you that are truthers, just know I'm not a truther, but whatever. You can have your humor. But yeah, as he was walking, everything was just melting, and they had like the Godzilla music, and it was pretty goddamn cool. Mothra just impaled the hell out of Rodan. Rodan was really a sidekick character in this movie. Like they didn't give Rodan a lot of opportunities to. Well, I take that back. They did. There was a scene where Rodan was fighting against these jet planes, and it was awesome. Rodan was whooping ass. That was like right after the scene that you've seen on the trailers with Rodan flying over the city and causing like this wave of destruction following behind it. It was a really good scene. Something that kind of got him on my nerves after a while was how sturdy a lot of the military vehicles were. Like there was a lot of scenes where there were explosions or there was shock waves and things like that, where the thing that they're in would clearly get hit by something, but like all it would do would cause like the lights in the cockpit to like flash on and off and rock a bit, but never once was there like an actual technical issue. Like if in real life something would have happened, something would have gone wrong, something would have messed up, it wouldn't have made sense that all this damage was happening, but the vehicle was 100% functional still, or the vehicles were 100% functional still. Made no sense to me, but whatever. They didn't really. The movie has a lot of exposition in it. They don't really allow you to learn about the plot points yourself. Everything's kind of just like force fed to you and just read off or explained in some type of they explain it either through like legend, or they explain it through like orders through radio, or some commander giving off orders or something. Like everything is explained to you. You don't really have a lot of chance to come to the conclusion yourself. There was something else I was about to say, but whatever. I'm just going off the top of my head, really. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. Forgive me for that. Man, they're like, Mothra didn't really have a lot of great scenes by herself. The only real scene she had by herself was in the beginning, where she just hatched and she was the larva form, and she was like spitting all the spider silk over everybody, like Spider-Man just whipping up every goddamn body. And there was a scene after she hatched or after she came out of her cocoon, and you know the wings under the waterfall, which was a great scene. They gave Mothra this weird like glowing effect, which was good at first, but I think that they kind of overused it. I would have liked to have seen the way Mothra looks without the glowing, like to see the colors and just the way it's designed, because the glowing kind of hid a lot of it behind the actual glow. You couldn't really see a lot of her designs and stuff. Yeah, but I mean, this is pretty much. I guess this is the second Godzilla movie I've seen completely all the way through. If you want to include the first legendary Godzilla movie, this is the second one I've seen, like from start to finish. The rest of them, like I said, I've seen pieces and parts. At some point, I gotta like sit down and actually watch the movies. But yeah, if you guys happen to have any opinions about the movie itself, again, be sure to leave descriptions in the comment section down below. I will read them, and I'd like to see what your opinions are about it, because like I said, I'm not an expert with Godzilla. I know about some of the specific plot points from like snippets from the movies or stuff that I've looked up online, or from video games. I've played a lot of the Godzilla video games, especially like the ones back on GameCube. So I know a lot about the monsters and stuff, but not a ton. So be sure to go ahead and get in the comment section. If you feel like it, go ahead and school me, because you don't learn unless somebody teaches you. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I look forward to seeing you guys in my future videos. I'll say it one more time. I'll have a link for the original channel at the end of this. The last 30 seconds should be it. If you want to try to get in contact with me away from YouTube, these are my social media platforms. Stay close, particularly to Twitter, because I'm most active on Twitter, and I will be streaming on Twitch again. Matter of fact, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Go to my Twitter. I will have a time that I'll be streaming. Usually it's around 7:30, but I might do it earlier. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. I'll be playing Phoenix Wright, not Ace Attorney, but the game after Ace Attorney, the second one, because the trilogy came out. I finished Ace Attorney. I'm gonna start with the second one. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. And until then, I'm Devon DaVinci. You've just been a little bit more enlightened, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my future videos. Deuces.